Hello, everyone. Welcome to Revsportz. Joining us today is Mr. Robin Peterson, South Africa's leading wicket taker at the 2011 World Cup. Someone who has delivered match winning performances with both the bat and the ball in the game. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. And with the IPL currently going on, my first question to you is, sir, you've played for the Mumbai Indians. Now, what are your thoughts on the impact player rules? I mean, there has been a lot of criticism regarding it. There are a lot of advantages and a lot of challenges. So, what are your thoughts on about it?
I think firstly, thanks for that introduction. I feel really honored to be here. But the impact player rule, I think for cricket purists, I think the general consensus in South Africa from guys that have watched it for a few seasons now, it's not something that's really taken. People haven't really taken to it. I suppose it's great if a team, if you win the toss and you end up chasing, then you definitely get the benefit of it a little bit more. But I think it takes away the all rounder a little bit, which I think in South Africa we like a lot of all rounders. So it almost makes that position in the team null and void. And then because the pitches are so flat, it just seems that the batters get the license to try and hit sixes, which is great for entertainment for the crowd. But I think that little crafty player is, and that little, smart, intelligent player with a high IQ, also needs to be catered for in T20 cricket. So I do see why they've done it to create more entertainment and to give players more opportunity. But I think from a personal point of view, I would like to see it to go to a more traditional 11v11.
Definitely, sir. And you mentioned about flat pitches, and we all know that currently in the IPL, scoring 100 runs on the power play is like no big deal.
Yeah.
The target of 250 is being chased, and it's the new normal right now. So, having said that, sir, there's this one batter that has recently got a lot of attention, and that is Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. I mean, everywhere you go, people are talking about him and his talent, and especially with the kind of dominance that he's showing. Now, my question to you is, as a bowler, how do you deal with a batter who is hitting you all around the park? I mean, what do you tell yourself as a bowler, because you've tried different variations, you've tried different lengths, but you're getting hit? So how do you calm yourself down during that situation?
I think that's a trick in T20 cricket, and especially being a power play bowler. Um, you have to keep calm. I think everything is in the batter's favor. You have to understand that, and you have to have a really good temperament as a bowler because some of your good balls are going to go for sixes. If you look at the conditions. So to come back to Suryavanshi, what an amazing talent! I think he's on everybody's lips around the world, not only in the people watching the IPL in India. I think everybody, when they know Rajasthan are playing, I think people are starting to actually go in front of their television sets in South Africa because it's so unique. I think, what it takes me back to is watching Sachin Tendulkar at 16 in Test cricket, making his debut. Suryavanshi seems to be the T20 version of, a Sachin Tendulkar type player. So, he's exciting. He's what people come to watch cricket for. He thrills the fans. He turns kids to cricket. I mean, I was just at a lunch a couple of days ago, and the kids were playing cricket on the beach, and it was quite funny that one of the kids said they Suryavanshi. So already he's starting to make waves, and I think he's so exciting for the game. As far as where to bowl to him, I think nobody's worked that out quite yet. I think he's still very new and fresh, and he's just so confident. He doesn't look that easy to bowl to. He hits spin equally well as he does pace. So he seems that people are going to come up with plans, and I'm pretty sure people will count him at some point, and then he'll have to grow his game again. But at the moment, he's just phenomenal to watch, and what a talent India have.
So while we're at this, sir, let me just tell you that my colleague here, Amreen, and I, both of us are huge fans, and Amreen also wanted to ask you some questions. So over to you, Amreen.
Yeah. So as we all know that you were the part of MI setup for a long time, first as a player, now as a coach. So I just wanted to know that how MI, like Mumbai Indians from India, coordinate with like franchising in the global league, like how they support each other across the different league.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of communication that goes on, across the different teams globally. As a player, I mean, I'm still pretty much in touch with the people, that are above me and running the franchises, and I knew them when I was a player, so that those existing relationships are there. So, communication is probably one of the strong points. We have regular chats. I think, the scouting department is world famous now, in terms of scouting players. Without getting in too much detail, I think the key when you have so many teams across the world is communication. And I think that happens quite regularly within the franchise and across the team. So a lot of the guys that are sort of been tasked to run the teams now have either played for MI or, have been involved with the franchise since the inception of IPL. So, it's great because, it does feel that familiarity, that you have that relationship. You can pick up the phone and, if you've seen a player, or, you know, if they want to know what your thoughts are, if you watch the IPL, where how you think they're tracking. So, like I said, communication is the key, and that's what they do very well across various platforms.
So, from you representing MI from two sides of the coin, like from player, like and from coach, and you've seen the IPL in India, and then from SA20. So, what are the similarities and differences you find in both of the leagues, and what are the fan engagement for IPL in South Africa? I just wanted to know that.
Yeah, so I mean, the IPL it's a lot older, so it's a lot more mature product than the SA20. But I have to say the SA20 is of a very high standard.
Yeah,
The cricket is tough. There may be only six teams, but you feel that when you go to a game of cricket, anybody can beat anybody. So the teams are
yeah,
so closely matched. Yeah, as far as fans are concerned, the fans have latched onto it from year one. With the minute everybody asks when is SA20, the minute it ends and people start getting a bit edgy, and they look forward to good cricket at the end of the year. So no, the SA20 has done wonders for South African cricket. It reminds me of when I started watching cricket. A 45 over cricket tournament we had in South Africa called the Benson and Hedges, where day night cricket was pretty new domestically. So the SA20 definitely has that same feel. A lot of families. It's a very much a family type tournament. um, and you see so many kids from so many different backgrounds, and it's great to see because we're such a diverse country in South Africa. So the minute we go to games, it's you get people from all walks of life coming to the cricket and enjoying it as families. So that's the one thing I do enjoy is the amount of kids and families that actually come to the event is magnificent. So yeah, I mean nothing will compare to the IPL, but I think the SA20 does have its own unique flavor where the conditions are a little bit different. They're not as flat as in the IPL, so that poses a different dynamic when putting your squad together.
Top, if we have to talk a little about your favorite South African player in the IPL, whose name would you take? And if I ask you, what are your thoughts on Devil Brewers now that he's making a comeback finally after the injury?
Well, I think you took the words out of my mouth. That's my favorite player, is Devil Brevis, in the South African play in the IPL. So yeah, I've got a long history with Devil. I've worked with him in the MI franchise. I'm in the Major League NSA20. Sad that he's not donning the blue and gold anymore, but what a player. Like Sooryavanshi gets people to watch the game and set up. I think Deval Brevis does the same thing. Um, the IPL, I don't believe, seen the best of him yet. I think, it's a pity he's come in with an injury, because certainly his form leading up into that competition he was red hot. And he loves playing in India. I know Devi quite well. So, we chat every now and then, and, he's really excited to come to India. And I'm pretty sure you guys are going to see the best of him in the next couple of years. So, and he's going to win some matches. And to me, he's exciting. He's what Surya Vanshi is for India, Devil Brevis is for South Africa. So it's exciting. Hopefully, the two will lock horns in a lot more battles going forward.
So before we conclude, I wanted to ask you, you've played with players like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and they have achieved, great level of success. So what do you think? I mean, how have they stayed so relevant when, the template of the game is changing so fast?
I think that's like any great player. I think they're able to evolve with the tactics and the pace of the game. I think that's what makes them great players. So, Rohit's evolved his game. You see he's having a great IPL, having impact. Virat Kohli's upped his strike rate. He's evolved. MS Dhoni's been, I mean, a legend, one of the greatest captains to ever play the game. So, I mean, that's the beauty of T20. The tactics evolved, and the best players can evolve with the tactics and strategies. And as data and analytics, sample sizes get bigger. So that's why they're great. In any era, they would have been great players. So it's fantastic. I'm loving watching Kohli play at the moment. I think the way he's adapted, to his different roles, where, every time you get a different coach, he's been the constant at RCB, and to watch him evolve with how his roles developed, is outstanding. And Rohit, you can see he's come in, he looks fit and hungry, and that's also definitely that hunger and desire that these guys have is on another level, and that's what separates them from the rest of the world. That's why, when you look at events and ICC events, and they always seem to be standing there with a gold medal because they're great players, and India are very blessed, to have all three of them and all three great captains in their own right.
The last question to you. I'm just going to change my role a little bit now. This is coming from a fan, a huge fan of Aiden Markram. So, what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I've always been a fan of Aiden. I think saw Aiden when he came onto the scene for South Africa. I think he's a great leader. Firstly, he's a guy that he doesn't command respect. He sort of just has that aura of leadership. He's always had it since a young boy. Fantastic player, fantastic human being. Um, no, I'm a big Aiden Markram fan. I mean, you only need to look what he's done in the South African shirt. I'm digressing to the World Test Championship. In the final, mentally he's so strong as a player, and any team that has Aiden Markram in has always got a better chance of winning. So, he's captained South Africa, so well. I'm pretty sure that, if South Africa are going to lift an ICC trophy, I won't be surprised if Aiden Markram will be the captain. Standing there, keeping the trophy aloft. So, fantastic player and a great human being. And, he has respect in the dressing room of his team and of the global cricketing landscape.
Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. As a team, Revsportz is extremely delighted to have you as our guest. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me and inviting me. And I really appreciate it and look forward to what you guys have in store in the future too.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you.
No problem. Have a good evening.
Good evening. Bye, sir.